عسلامة الناس الكل، مرحبا بكم في السيشن متاعنا اليوم. سيشن 3 من المجلس اللي هي سبيشال سيريز من عن جي دي جي مونستير. اللي باش نحكيو فيها على different topics. اليوم باش نحكيو على bringing ideas to life with Flutter and Antigravity. معكم الهوست يعني جهاد المروقي، Flutter developer and software engineer. Donc let's see who's with us في live. We are live. Let me share live متاعي. Then we'll start. دونك اليوم التوبيك متاعنا في البيلد وذ اي اي سيريز، اللي هي باش تكون bring ideas to life. معناها باش تكون عندنا initially an idea نحاول نخرجها in real life into concept or into prototype maybe. So we're gonna leverage Flutter, Stitch and Antigravity today. Donc today's journey is maybe a 60-minute session. First topic is the AI shift what اللي باش نكوفريوها how development is evolving. Second thing is meeting the tools what are we gonna use today. دونك اللي هما باش يكونوا Flutter, Antigravity, Stitch and MCPs مع basic البيزكس نتاعها. ثالث حاجة live build. we're gonna live code, live build something. اللي هي زادة باش transition into a workshop if there is if we have people participating to give ideas on example of an app we can build. So let's go ahead and start. So the development evolution كما نعرفوا قبل السوفتوير انجينيرنج ولا development en general. كنا قبل نستعمل في بيزك رايتنجز اللي هما معناها باش يخليونا نستغلوا اللونجاج ماشين اللي هما باينريز. خرجت في 1950 اللي هي اسامبلي لانجويج، كانت بير بون معناها ميتال بريسك تحكي مع الهاردوير ليفل ديريكت. اللي هي كانت بيت كومبلكس معناها اوبفيسلي معناها كومبلكس على الاخر. حتى في الريتنج ستايل نتاعها اتس نوت لايك فيجوالي فريندلي كيما الموديل لانجويج توا اللانجويجز توا. ومن بعد تعدينا من 70s onwards للهاي ليفل لانجويجز اللي هما باش يكونوا كيما الجافا كيما السي شارب توا. ومن بعد تعدينا للفريم وركس اللي هما built on top of these existing ones كيما مثلا فلاتر عنده الترانزيشن لاير اللي هي سكالا مخدمة بال سي بلس بلس. وتوا بعض الفريم وركس اللي هما مثلا نجم يكونوا نود، نجم يكونوا عرفت فلاتر، نجم يكونوا عرفت انجولار. تعدينا الحاجة أخرى النيفو آخر اللي هما ال AI agents اللي هما realistically they're not building above them but they're leveraging these frameworks, these high level languages to give us real world products that we can use. Donc, what is anti-gravity, which is today's subject? So it's an agentic IDE. So what does it mean an agentic IDE? عنده حاجات سبيشال بخلاف انه يكون معناها IDE ولا code editor normal. دونك عنده حاجات كلي it makes it a bit special, it makes it a bit user friendly و developer friendly ولا حتى let's say noob friendly. Donc, autonomous agent execution execute entire the workflow. Donc ما عادش نحكيو just على building codes، نحكيو على workflows كاملين. دونك باش تعديهم من الكونسيبت لل مثلا سكرينز لللوجيك للفاينل برودكت. دونك هذا كل نجم نعملوه بمنتج جرافيتي. interprets requirements plans and generate codes. دونك هذه الكل عبارة عبارة سوفت وير انجينير مع جنبك تو جايد يو، حتى إذا كان أنت معناها ما عندكش all of the knowledge needed to ship a product ولا to build a product. هو باش يكون معاك. He can validate to you, he can correct to you, he can plan for you. You just need to guide it or give it like the end product that you want ولا الحاجة that you desire. Runs tests and verify results automatically. دونك هذه حاجة زادة اللي باهية for non coders ولا حتى for codes itself. خاطر ساعات نبخلوا على like to write test codes. So هذا اللي ينجم يعاوننا في ال running test codes، اللي هو زادة ينحي لنا potential like security risks ولا حتى potential bugs down the line في ال product متاعنا. reads project files and run terminal commands automatically. دونك تنجم through Antigravity عنده access للسيستم نتاعك، وينجم يراني terminal commands. حتى إذا كان أنت ما تعرفش exactly what to run, you can ask it and it can run it for you to help you. For example, fetch files, find files, match and execute commands, obviously with ال acceptance نتاعك أنت. وانتجريتس with external services via MCP. تنحكيو على الام سي بي شنو هما اكزاكتومون. دونك لهنا عندنا a bit of a charts اللي كنا نحكيو فيه في معناها traditional AI assistant ولا الفي اي دي ايز العاديين versus anti-gravity. suggest line code, execute for workflows اللي حكينا عليهم, react to your cursor with a plan, implement autonomously, build entire project structure and it builds and you review. Donc, next, what's an MCP? So MCP is the model context protocols that lets agents interact with the development environments. So it's basically a communication layer between your agent اللي باش تستعمله while coding والحاجة ال end product اللي تحب عليها leveraging something. For example, design, Figma, or let's say Flutter باش يكون عندك MCP متاع Dart and Flutter. So it helps the AI understand what are you actually doing with the tool and what it can do with that certain tool. If it has like some boundaries, if it has some special things on the technical level, or what the actual tool is actually. So moving on, for today's session باش نستعمل Stitch. So what is Stitch? Is an AI-powered UI designer by Google. Describes what you want and it gives you interfaces. It can be multiple interfaces, can be a logo, it can be anything visually, anything visually. And with export multiple export options اللي هما ينجموا يكونوا في AI Studio, Figma, Jules, zip folder, MCP export, or clipboard. You can copy it directly. So for today's session too, the workflow is prompting Stitch, exporting via MCP, and then generating code, and finally delivering an app or from a concept to an actual application. So now for the prompting thing, the prompting part. So in we have two ways. If you're gonna think like a designer, for example, design first. So we're gonna prompt Stitch to define the context and the themes and fonts, specify colors, list each screen with its components, include the visual dictation, for example, rounded borders, gradients, shadows, etc. Or we're gonna think like a technical lead. We're gonna do the thinking of the architecture first of the app, then we're gonna follow it by the design. So we're gonna reference the state project for the screens, define architecture as we said, specify, for example, state management of the application, and describe routing models and data flow. So these are two routes you can go. Uh, One is from Stitch directly, and one from Antigravity via code first. So what Antigravity generates, we're gonna, for example, in today's session, generate UI, some logics, and some widgets and themes, maybe some entities, use cases, and repositories, and finally uh, models, mock repositories, and maybe API interaction if needed. Down below, you can find some Flutter packages. Maybe we're maybe going to use, depends on the workshop and what you guys request or ask. So we have Flutter blocks, equatables, Google fonts for fonts, and material symbolic icons. Next up, we're gonna go and build something from scratch together. So as we said, Stitch, then MCP, then Antigravity, and then a Flutter app. And this is your queue. If you have any ideas, please drop them in the comment. And we're gonna go ahead with the live coding and the live session. And here's an example for your prompt template. For example, you can go to Stitch and tell it to create a modern mobile app. You can give it a name or not. UI, for example, an e-commerce application or a gallery application or a banking application. So whatever it is you need really, and you can go ahead further by describing each screen. For example, screen 1 contains login or onboarding, screen 2 contains your profile, screen 3 contains your main functionalities, and maybe screen 4 is a settings screen. And you can describe the style too, which can be like modern, minimalistic, or cartoony theme, depending on the target app that you want or the demography that's gonna use it. And also in Anti-Gravity, we can prompt by uh, linking our Stitch project via MCP and getting its ID and the screen IDs, and prompting directly from our Flutter project into Stitch and dynamically see the result, and also have hands-on or real-time modification with the design, and you can see it visually in your app. Next up, some key takeaways we're gonna have from today's session is AIs are accelerators, not replacers so far, hopefully. So you're still an architect, you're still orchestrating these AI tools and these AI models to handle what you actually need. And prompting is a new skill. It is the future skill. So the product can be as good as your prompting skills. So prompting is really important, and you should consider and play around with your prompts to achieve an ideal result for you. So it's gonna stick with time. You know what is a good prompt and what isn't a good prompt. So the more in detail you go, the more the better the product is gonna be. And the pipeline is real, so you can leverage multiple pipelines or multiple workflows throughout the tech industry, not just Flutter. But for today's session or today's topic, we're gonna go from Stitch to MCP to Flutter to obviously uh, all orchestrated by anti-gravity. And finally, review everything. So before accepting any changes to your code or to the logic of your app, make sure that you actually review what the AI or what the model is gonna give you, and validate that it is okay, that it is correctly, so you don't find yourself and the model hallucinating and going in a loop and not doing actually anything and not progressing. Sorry. And finally, Thank you. And we're gonna go ahead with the live session. Let's see the live comments if there are any ideas or anything the community wants to build with me. Let's go back to full screen. So if any of you guys have an idea for an app that we can develop or we can start developing now, just drop it in the comments of the Facebook Live at GGG Monastir. If not, I have an idea planned. So uh, an app for kids, exactly what do we mean, Ahlam? Like I need a proper idea, or at least the skeleton of an idea, so we can execute it together in the live demo. So what do you mean, kids? For kindergarten or what? Okay, for the time being, while we brainstorm some ideas and leave them in the comments, I'll start by explaining what we actually need to do and the prerequisites of our session. So this is the Gemini CLI. Uh, what does it differ from the Gemini interface on web? It's a CLI that can interact with your whole machine and interact with your project directly. So you need to install it via npm, for example, or more install option. You can find uh, each installation option depending on your machine or your work environment. So I already have it installed, and we're gonna use it for some things. So this is better if you're coding, and you don't need to go back and forth with the web interface for Gemini, and it executes directly in your project. Secondly, this is Stitch. As we talked about, Stitch, we can use it from directly from the web, or integrating it with Antigravity. So let's go to Stitch. So this is the interface of Stitch. You can see on the left bar here you have your projects, and here you can, for example, start a new project and start prompting if you want the design for a web or a mobile application and which model you want to use. And also, a good recommendation is to install Stitch agent skills in your anti-gravity or work environment. So, for example, this is my uh, anti-gravity IDE, and currently I'm not inside a project, but you can see on the right side we have another tab which is anti-gravity, and this is the agent that we're gonna interact with. And this is the different modes. This is the planning mode, and this is the fast mode. So planning is actually to validate with the AI model or the agent what you're working with, to validate, for example, ideas, to validate code, to test code, to run the tests, etc. And the fast agent is or the fast category is an agent who will execute directly for example, simple tasks. But I always prefer to use the planning mode. And here are the different models that you can use. But keep in mind, it's not unlimited, obviously. You can see here, uh, you can upgrade, for example, Google AI plan to receive higher rates. So every model has a certain rate limit. Keep that in mind if you don't have a subscription plan. But we can go here up top, additional options, and maybe customize our MCP servers. So this is what I talked about. There are already multiple MCP servers here, but let's see in the customize. I have workflows. We can add for workflows, but for me, manage MCP servers. I already have three MCP servers installed, the Dart one and the stage one. So for the stage one, it can create a project from directly here in Antigravity, get projects, list screens, get screens. So these are things that Antigravity can automatically interact with uh, in these in these in this board. So it needs to be linked, obviously, if you go to configure. So you need to configure it with your API key. If you click what is my API key, so you can see you have some daily credit and also daily redesign credits. I haven't used anything today, so we're gonna use it in the live session. And here is the API key, so you can create an API key and just drop it here for the configuration. But for the Dart MCP doesn't need any API key. You just make sure you have Flutter installed and install the Dart MCP server. And it can let Antigravity launch the app, stop the app, list devices, get app logs, and how to reload, how to restart, etc., etc. Anything Flutter specific. So let's go back to the comments and see. Color learning app, maybe. Okay, that's doable. Uh, and like for teaching kids how to spell words and write them by themselves, for example. Okay, that's doable too. So hello everyone in the live chat. Uh, both ideas are simple enough, but let's see if we can fit them inside today's session. Uh, what do you guys think between those two? If you want the color app, type 1. If you want the teaching kids app, type 2. So one is for color app, two is for teaching kids app. And we'll go by the majority, obviously. While you guys are voting, let's go back to the session. And okay, I'm seeing one. I'm seeing one, two. Okay, one more vote and we'll begin. Okay, let's get back to anti-gravity. So this is the agent part, and basically the rest is a normal IDE, apart from some parameters that you can additionally use. But let's go ahead to projects and maybe Flutter, wait, build with yeah app. So all I'm doing now is I've created a new Flutter project, and let's open it. Okay. So I'm seeing a lot of ones. So okay, we'll work on the color apps, the app for colors exactly. So we'll do the AI. Let's go to projects. and we'll use AI. So this is a basic from scratch, a new Flutter project. Just gonna start my emulator. If you have anything specific or questions about Flutter exactly, drop them in the comments because I just assume that we're working with Flutter is as a basis for this session. So if you need any explaining or how to start the emulator or how to install Flutter, I'll just drop resources in the comments. So for me, I just started the emulator that we're gonna work on, and maybe let's go ahead and start with the development of our app. Let me just refresh this. Okay, uh, so as I said before, like if you need a good product, you need to prompt well. So let's say we need an app for like color learning, as Farah said. So if you guys have any idea for a prompt or any things specifically for this app, can you write them in the comment while I'm gonna start writing a basic prompt, and then we'll get it better together. So I need to do a project. Ah, build me for interfaces are so about an app that helps you learn color, color palettes, and maybe color rules. It is meant to help you learn how to color and color coordinate in real life, or maybe even be a basis for maybe be a basis for someone to get familiar with design. So I need an onboarding screen that describe what the app actually is and what it does. So this is for screen one. Screen two, actual learning uh, path or behavior with interactive widgets and maybe color palettes. Is let the user choose a palette and modify it, and maybe that that selected color can modify the app's theme according accordingly. And screen for what should we do at screen 4, or should we keep it at 3 screens for now? If you guys want, we can start by 3 screens, and then we'll we'll go from there. Okay. So for the basis of our app, we're gonna build a mobile app. Okay, so we're gonna build with Stitch some mobile app interfaces that let you learn to color and color coordinate and learn how to color, how to choose a good color palette. So the first screen is gonna be an onboarding of the what the app actually is and what does it do. The second screen is a learning path and or a behavior with interactive widgets and color palettes. And the third screen is gonna let the user choose the color palette, modify it, and maybe that color palette actually applies that those colors to the app's theme accordingly. So let's see what Stitch can do. So it's gonna take a bit of time to actually get those designs. So because I gave it a relatively uh, easy but a bit of some complex screens. So we're gonna wait for the generated screens. Okay, uh, so Stitch generated these screens, and which are actually pretty cool and pretty nice. Uh, so this is the onboarding screen. Let's move it here, and this is the second screen, which is the learning path, and this is the third screen, which is the choose a color palette, and that applies it on the theme of the app. So I think this is a pretty good baseline to start with. And let's see. So in Stitch, we can actually do something, which is to annotate. For example, if you want, you can annotate. For example, if you want to like change this just this title, we can annotate it, and so it's preparing for Canvas, and we can just select this and maybe change the title. But I'm not gonna do that. So I think this is pretty fine, and we can change it on the Flutter level. But I'm gonna ask it to generate variations. So I need 3 more variations for the onboarding, especially the uh, the image. So I need a variation of this because it has a slider onboarding. So it only gave us one image, but I'm just gonna generate variations and select images here and generate variations. So hopefully it creates three other variations that we can use fully in our app to create the onboarding. And here also you can see that the agent or Stitch. Uh, let's move these here. You can see that actually Stitch and Nano Banana and Gemini, which is what Stitch uses under the hood, created a 12-day streak, which is like a gamifying logic, like for example Duolingo uses. So if you log in to the app every day, we can have a streak, or if you miss a day, the this streak can go back to zero. So this is an actually well thought well thought behavior of the app. So this is on the logic side, not even on the design side, which is pretty neat. So here you can see that we have now, apart from the original variation, actually 3 more variations we can use in our app. So I think this is good enough, and let's start by exporting it, and let's select all of these screens, and let's say a MCP, and it actually generate a prompt. Let's see. So I generated an MCP prompt, and we can actually paste it here. But before that, let's put the same prompt that we put to Stitch in our Antigravity. So that way, Antigravity knows that we are building mobile app for learning colors, and then it can get these screens from my Stitch, which is linked via MCP server. So it's just gonna fetch it alone. So let's for example use Gemini 3.1 Pro and type enter. In the meantime, I'm just gonna read some comments, and if you have any questions, please drop them in the comments. That way we can be more interactive and also answer your questions. So for the time being, it's actually created a task, like the agent created a task, and it used MCP tool to get the screens. So these are the skill it used from the Stitch MCP server. And now it's asking me to download screen code via with curl. So I'm gonna accept again. So you can see that I have new files here. And accept again. Run. The files are being added. So my guess is that it export these screens via HTML, then it's gonna convert them to a Flutter code. And here we can see the task itself, called learning app implementation, fetch the screen from the project. This is the project ID, and it's gonna download the code and images using curl. So this is what it's doing right now. Then it's gonna incorporate downloaded components into a Flutter app. So this is the plan for like this is the plan it created in order to implement these screens from MCP prompt to HTML, then from HTML to this logic. So let's start by reading this and validating it. So build a color learning app screen, which is gonna create a new folder called screens onboarding screen. So this is the onboarding screen and its details. An image illustration taking up the top half, etc., etc. The second screen, the third screen, and the app setup. So it's gonna modify the main.dart, and then it's gonna run Flutter test and apply and Dart fix apply if there is any error. So let's proceed and validate this plan. So we validated this plan, and now it's gonna start by building the app. So now let's run it. So now it's installing some packages or running pub.get. So it added all of these packages, and I'm gonna validate it for the sake of this demo. I'm just gonna look for any new comments. Okay, 3 screens are good enough. Let's start with the 3 screens initially. Yes, yes. Hello, hello, bonsoir. So you can notice now it's thinking. So if you can expand this, now I'm analyzing subsequent stages requirement to accomplish the, the objective. So it's analyzing these screens that it downloaded from Stitch, and it's gonna convert these HTML screens into Dart and Flutter code. So this is the first screen that it created, and I'm here prompted to accept or reject the screen, and it's still thinking. So I'm gonna accept. So now it accepted. I accepted the modification on this project. Excuse me. So it created the onboarding screen, palette customizer screen, and learning path screen. So I'm gonna accept all three. Okay, now it's asking me to run Dart fix apply. So to check if there are any uh, code or, for example, unused imports. So this is gonna be removed. Like I told you, it removed an unused import that we don't need, so it's unnecessary, and it removed it correctly. And now it's asking to run again. I think this time it's gonna reach its goal, and let's say. So now it's asking to run Dart analyze, and now you can accept it. Okay, we're gonna run Dart fix again. This time we're gonna apply. So here it has come to nothing to fix. So now it actually implemented the 3 screens we asked it for. So what was accomplished is built a modern mobile screen consistent of 3 core screens, etc. So these are the screens we uh, we actually wanted, and testing and validation. So it used Google Fonts for the font of the app, updated the main to add the theme data and specify this color code as a base, and validated the app code compiles with Dart and with opacity. So these are some parameters. So I'm gonna accept all. And now let's go to the main. So it implemented some code, and Let's see how it actually runs in the emulator. So we're gonna start by building this app we just did with Stitch and Antigravity into a real, well, not a real device, but into an iOS emulator. Just gonna take a second to build the app, then we'll see it on preview. For the time being, I'm gonna look at the comments. If you have any new comments or any questions, please drop them in the Facebook Live. So the build is done, and this is actually our app. Let's compare it by what Stitch gave us. So far, they are pretty similar, but not exactly match for match. But visually on Stitch it looks a bit better. But obviously we can tweak it in the code. So these are the onboarding screens, exactly like Stitch implemented. Now let's get started. And we have this with a 12-day streak. Let's see. So these are not actually interactive widgets. These are just basically static widgets. But the design part itself is actually finished. And let's see if you have other screens. So in the color palette screen, we can see it's actually a bit more improved. The color palette is better visualized, and I don't think these. Let's see if we can change the theme of the app. Let's go back here and see if we have any problem with the code. So okay, just saving palettes, but it's not actually doing anything. Okay, did it save anything? So no. Uh, so far, what we asked from Stitch and Anti-Gravity is what it actually did. So I think that's 10 out of 10 implementation. Let's see the new comments. Can you re-explain the anti-gravity and Stitch connection and how it happened? Okay, so basically you go here, and for example, in a blank project or in any project, you can go here to MCP servers, and basically you trigger this side screen automatically. It's gonna trigger, or you can go to a new conversation, but you don't need to. If you press Command L on Mac or Control L on Windows machines, it's gonna prompt you with this side bar that has the agent. You can go here to MCP servers, and for example here, Stitch, and you're gonna find it by default because Antigravity updated, and since you can search it directly here, and you can just install it because I already have it installed, but you're gonna see an install button here. Then go to configure, then Stitch API key, press on this icon. It's gonna open a new screen like this, and basically you press on create an API key, and it's gonna give you this letters. It's an API key. I'm not gonna show mine on live stream now, obviously, but you just copy it and paste it here and click save. After that, Stitch will be linked from Antigravity to your Stitch with your Google account here, and it can retrieve your projects which can be found here on the sidebar. So this is a new project, for example. I'm gonna call it color app. But Stitch basically now can find any of your other projects, and you can interact with them directly in the agent here. So, for example, in the first phase, it said fetching screens from Stitch. If I expand it, it's basically running a task which is get screen, get screen, get screen. This is a skill inside this MCP, which is basically a get API to get the screens from Stitch. So firstly, I went to Stitch and prompted to generate this design. And then I gave it the same description that we generated these screens with. Then I I selected all of these screens. So Command A or Control A, these are all selected. Then I went to export and I went to MCP. And here you can see how you set up your MCP, or actually, I just copied the prompt. For some reason, my stitch is on light theme, but you can see anything here. But when I copy the prompt MCP, uh, it gets you the text. So you can drop this directly into Antigravity, and then it's gonna fetch the screens by itself and download them via HTML. Then you can translate these HTML assets to basically any framework you want, but for our case, it was Flutter. I hope this explanation is good. Did you understand, Farah? Just write a comment if it's all clear. But now let's move on to a different task. So far we have the app, which is as we said, it's a pretty cool app. So we have the onboarding. These do not work. So I may remove them, and we have the color palette. But actually, I'm gonna ask Gemini now to make the app dynamic. Well done. But now I need the app to be fully dynamic and interactive. So I need the color uh, interactive harmony. That have some mock data the in the courses or learning path. Plus, I need the I need palette customizer to actually change the app's theme with the selected color. So now what I'm asking what I'm asking Gemini or Antigravity to do is to actually convert this static app to a dynamic app. For example, if we uh, select a color here and press apply, it's gonna apply that color to this app's theme. And I asked it to make this interactive harmony widget into an actual slider, so we can see the colors change and we can learn them essentially. So this is the goal of our application. Okay, it's all clear. Okay, nice, Farah. So now I prompted to make the app more dynamic, and I accepted its plan. So now this is the plan for making the app more dynamic. So it's gonna modify two screens. It's gonna ensure the seed color and the primary and the theme data are drawn from a value listenable, and it's gonna do some other modifications and add some mock data to learning path. So let's see what result it's gonna give us. And like usual, in the meantime, I'm gonna read some comments, or if there are any new questions, just let me know. So now what it's actually doing is modifying the palette customizer screen color. So it's applying an interactive wheel to change the colors, and hopefully it actually implements it. So now let's come here and go to this screen, and we're gonna accept these modifications. So now we no longer have a static color except from this one. We're gonna accept this. I'm accepting here all of the modification because it didn't prompt me on the side. So yeah, it's still generating some code. Let's give it some time. So I accepted all of the changes that it did, and I'm just gonna try and make sure that there are no hard-coded colors. So this is just for the decoration of some boxes, but overall I think there are no hard-coded colors except from these, and maybe later we can change these too. Onboarding screen still the same, so it's referencing the image in Stitch learning path screen. Okay, so now it's modifying learning path screen. So it's removing static colors and applying some new ones. Let's close this. Okay, so it encountered some errors, and it's reviewing some changes, and gonna accept these two. So when it ran a Flutter analyze, it found 14 issues, so it's gonna reanalyze again and maybe fix them. So it's fixing some deprecated warnings from Flutter Analyze, and the same on the palette customizing screen. Let's analyze again. So we went down from 13 issues to 6 issues. So it's starting to fix these two. Okay, analyze again. So we have no issues now. And it's gonna go to the next step. So this is what I did, and I'm gonna accept all. So this is a walkthrough of what it did just now. So let's see. I'm gonna hot reload the app, and hopefully we have some interactive widgets to play with. Okay, let's start. Okay. So let's see this part. Okay, now the theme is actually changing with the slider that we implemented. Let's go down in the saturation. Now it's all full black and white. Let's go back a bit and let's reduce brightness. Now it's black. And you can choose some presets. Let's, for example, save this color. Okay. And now, if you see, we have now up top the theme applied for the whole app. So it's not just the screen, it's actually the buttons that did change and this icon and the majority of the app changed some of its color. So let's modify it again. Let's go with something more green, I guess. And now let's save it again. Now it follows the color that we chose, but this is that the takeaway of today's session of how to go from an idea or a concept to actually building a prototype and maybe finally building a production app. We actually did a pretty good demo. I'm not gonna lie, I'm happy with this. I hope you guys are too. But obviously, in the future, you can see here. Here, actually, we have the slider. We can see some palettes and some colors. So these are the RGB colors: red, blue, and red, blue, and green. So this is also an interactive widget that you can play with. So it did all of the tasks that we asked it to without any issue. And let's go back to maybe pinkish color. I like that. So yeah, this is gonna conclude our session. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any more questions before we wrap it up, please let me know in the comments. I'm just gonna wait for some comments. Okay, we'll have like 3 minutes to answer, to see if there are any comments or questions. Otherwise, we're gonna end today's session. So let's see. Okay, so we don't have any questions. So thank you thank you everyone for attending this session. I hope you came out with some valuable insights and some added value. So thank you again for everything, and good night.